Alright, welcome back, guys. So let's take a step back and look at strings again. Let's take a step back to our work on strings, data types. Yeah, this is it. Now, there's a couple of things, just something I wanted to show you. So, how you use strings. So, if you say, let's name, or let's username, so say Maxwell. So if we want to say good morning Maxwell, how would we do that? We can say console.log. Now we can say good morning Maxwell. Okay, so now to add Maxwell, remember we want to do it by referencing the username, because we just know there's something username. We don't know what the username is. So, but we know there is a variable in our memory, in computer memory, called username. So we want to reference whatever, we want to add whatever value is there by referencing the variable that stores it. So what we need to do is to add, we jump out of the string and add a plus, and then we type the variable, like we reference the variable. Now if we do this, what we've done is we've just written this text together. So let me save this and see what we'll have. This is actually on line 58. So you see, line 58, you have good morning Maxwell. So you see there's really no space, but you have good morning. Okay, so we want to space it out, and what we want to do is to have a space between morning and Maxwell. So there are ways you can do that. You can just come here and add an extra space, and then we save, and then we get good morning Maxwell, right? So even if I change this to say Mark, so I don't have to change this here. It just changes. I don't have to change the reference, just changes the value that is stored in that variable. So you can see it says good morning Mark. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you about. This is called string concatenation. So what it means is you can basically use this concatenation operator. Now this is not the same as the plus sign, the arithmetic operator that you saw. This is what you use. This is serving a different purpose here. Basically it's serving to, you know, concat strings. Okay, so excuse me. So let's say we want to add the value of the current iteration, the value of score in this index, to what we have here. So we can basically say something like you scored or your score is, and then we will have to jump out that string and add plus, and then say scores for that iteration actually, and then we put plus again, and then we start another string, and then we give a space. So always make sure that before and after a variable reference that you are concatenating along with string, always make sure there is a space before and after. Hopefully that makes sense. So if we check now, actually let's do the same for all of them. So if we just need to add this, okay, and make sure we have this here, and then we do the same thing here and make sure we have here. Okay, so we can say excellent grade, we can say good grade, we can say average grade. Okay, let's save it and we look here. Cool. You now see your score is 68, good grade. Your score is 72, excellent grade. Your score is I'm not sure if 72 is excellent, but that's what we said. That's what we told our code to do. 82 is excellent, 50 good grade, 39 average grade, um, 90 of course is excellent, and 45 is average. Okay, so this is how you can use loop to do really fun things like this. Basically, when you have to do something repeatedly and output a different result for each iteration, that's where loops come in really handy. And there is a lot of other interesting things you can do with loops. Maybe I'll do one more thing. And so let's say we want to have actually you can use loops to create a multiplication table. Yeah, so let's say you want to have a multiplication table of it can be multiplication table of 2, or multiplication table of 4, or multiplication table of 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do multiplication table of 7. So how do we do that? Now we're going to use the same, actually, yeah, we're going to use the same for loop. Or you know what, let's start a new one. So we're going to use a different for loop. So we're going to say for, now because we want to do a multiplication table of 7, right? So we are going to iterate from 1. Remember, if you want to do multiplication, do not start your loop from 0. 0 multiplied by anything will always be 0, and so that loop will run forever. So we can say let I equal 1. Now we want to start multiplying by 1, so 7 multiplied by 1 give you 7. 7 times 2, so the first iteration will be 7 times 1. The second iteration will be 7 times 2. The third iteration will be 7 times 3. Okay, so where do we want to stop? So we say as long as keep on multiplying until, so we want to multiply 7 till let's say 20. Okay, so we say keep on multiplying until I is less than or equal to 20. And what do we want to do? Actually we want to just increment by 1. Okay, so we do 7 times 1, 7 times 2. Okay, so what do we actually want to do inside this? What do we want each iteration to do? So what we are going to do is we're going to say console log. We're going to console. So what we want to output is something like 7. Put this in. We're going to say 7 multiplied, or 7 times 1, and then we have 7. Now if we do this for 2, it's going to be 7 times 2, and then it's going to give us 14. So this is what we want to have. Okay, and to make that happen, we're going to use string concatenation again. So we're going to put this in a string, and then we'll say because we want to multiply by 7, so we can say 7 times, now 1 is going to be 1 and 2 are going to come from I. So for the first iteration, I is going to be 1. Second iteration, I is going to be 2. So we don't want to put it inside the string because it is dynamic. It changes with each iteration. So we say plus. Remember to put a space. So just say plus I. And then we start our string again. Actually, we want to put plus. So what do we want to put here? So we have 7 times 1, have our equal sign, and then plus Now this 7 is going to actually be the current iteration, which is I, multiplied by 7. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So we are saying 7 times 1, and this is static string, it's not changing. But whenever we want something to change based on the variable we are referencing, we put the variable, just like we did when we said good morning username. Okay, so for each iteration, for the first iteration when I is 1, so we're going to have 7 times 1, because I will be 1 in that case, equals actually 7, whatever 7 times 1 is. So in this case, it is 7. The second iteration is going to be 7 times, in that second iteration, I will be 2. So we have 7 times 2, and then it's going to be equal whatever 7 times 2 is, because it's going to be I times 7. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's save that and take a look. Cool. So we have 7 times 1, 7, 7 times 2, 14, 7 times 3, 21, 7 times 4, just like that until 20, because we said we stop at 20. So you can give this a shot. You can do maybe a multiplication table of, let's say, 5, and then you want to multiply way down till 100, whatever you want. Just give it a try and see how it goes. So for loop is really powerful. You can use for loop to do really interesting and awesome things. Okay, so in the next video we'll probably start talking about functions. So yeah, probably start talking about functions in our next video. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video. So make sure you give this a try.